did a little bit of analysis on Tarbela. A similar analysis of Mangla is coming up. It's not yet complete. But this is what I did on Mangla Dam. First of all, look at these two maps. This is before dams 1966, because your first dam came in 1967. This is your irrigation system, and this is running without any dam. You see the size of the system. It is running without any dam, and this is where you build the two dams, and now this is your system. Spot the difference. Is there any improvement of significant scale that because of these two dams happened? What did these dam give you? Your system was already running without the dams. Why did you put those two plugs in your system? Any hydrological model, if you build and run it without dams and with dams, there's hardly any difference. Your system can run as good without a dam as it does with a dam. And I actually put some numbers on that system. This is the annual transfer capacity of Tarbela Dam. Now this data is coming from WAPDA. Blue lines are the total river flow, and red lines is the river flow which is flowing out of the dam. So what is coming in is natural, and what is going out is controlled. And if you see that whether you have a large flow in a given year or you have a very small flow in a given year, as much water is coming in a year, as much is going out. So what the dam is doing, it is just receiving the same water and releasing the same water. वो डाखाने वाला काम कर रहा है. मैं जाके आपको डायरेक्ट दे देता हूँ, वो बीच में खड़ा होकर कहता है या मैं पकड़ा देता हूँ. This is what it is doing. You see, this is data. I'm not making it up. This is data from the WAPDA archives. Not a single year. I mean, this is the year when you got less water. The dam should have released more. This is the year when you got more water. The dam should have released less. But dams do not have the capacity to do it. You are not told the truth. Dams do not have the capacity to transfer water between years. Today they are making a case, they are telling you that if we have dams, then large floods will be saved and will be used subsequently. Your largest dam has never been able to do in its 40 years of life. And the next dam that you are proposing is not going to do it. They are telling you lies. And being engineers, you should understand it. Now here is seasonal transfers. Okay, from year to year there are no transfers, but then they say, okay, we save some water of the monsoon and release it in the Rabi season, which is the winter season. So here is what happens. These green bars are the ones which tell you how much water is flowing into the irrigation network. That large network I showed you was working without the dams and with the dams. This is the water which is going in those bars. This is the actual water coming into the river. Now this is the water over here, these red bars. This is what is being stored in the dam, and this is when it is being released. So if you see the release of the dam into your irrigation system in the winter months, this is without dam, and this much is the contribution of dam. This is without dam, this is the contribution of dam. So this contribution is spread out here. To simplify it and see the full numbers, this is what it is. This is your natural system, this is your canal water inflow, and this is the contribution of dam in your canals. It is less than 10%. It's about 6%. So you are plugging your system with a $20 billion block of concrete just to gain an advantage of 6%? Does it make any economic sense? What is the benefit of 6% more irrigation, 6% more agriculture production at the cost of that dam? You would never ever be able to break it even. Even if for 100 years you keep getting that water, it will still be less than the cost of the dam that you built. So why you want to build another dam? Whereas this irrigation system that you have, this water coming into the irrigation sector, is used so inefficiently that you are the worst in the world in terms of water efficiency. India produces 30% more crops with the same amount of water. Egypt and Turkey produce 50% more crops from the same amount of water than we do. And countries like Australia, USA and Israel, they produce 70 to 100% more crops for the same amount of water that we do. Instead of putting $20 billion in pushing more water into agriculture sector, why don't we put $20 billion in making our system efficient? If we do it efficiently, maybe we can only use this much water and produce the same amount of crops. So our priorities are completely skewed. Instead of preventing the wastage in agriculture sector, we are trying to provide more water into the agriculture sector at the rate of same wastage. So this is where our priorities are skewed. This slide has a caption that there are problems to every solution. Generally we say there are solutions to every problem. Here the equation is reversed. And unfortunately, this is true in our case. We developed gravity flow irrigation system and we created plenty of water for irrigation through large canals. Farmers of that time had never seen that much water in their lives. And suddenly, abundance of water became their lifestyle. They could afford to lose water, they could afford to waste water, and yet the water was still coming. But then there were problems. Waterlogging and salinity. We created billions of dollars of irrigation works, and then we had to do another billions of dollars of SCET projects, which were basically salinity control and land reclamation projects. We started losing our soils, we started losing our lands, and with that lost land, there was lost livelihood. And if you go to the villages of southern Punjab, Sindh and Sindh Delta, or for that matter anywhere in the irrigation command areas, there will be people who will be telling you the stories how they suffered because of waterlogging and salinity. But those drains that we created after doing yet more billions of dollars of projects, some land was reclaimed, but then these solutions also came with problems. One that if you have seen those scarp drains, they are a nuisance in the landscape. They are ugly. And in many cases, those drains just shifted the problem from their head to their tail. It is like robbing Peter to pay Paul. This land was good and this land was bad. You cut a drain through this land which was good, this land became better, and this land which was good now became bad. And there are hundreds of thousands of stories where people actually lost their lands when an irrigation drain passed through their good lands. We thought that doing irrigation on gravity is a very efficient way of doing irrigation because you don't have to pump the water. So the cost of pumps and everything was not there, water was automatically flowing. But this created breeding grounds for mosquitoes and other disease vectors. The flowing water on the surface brought a lot of seeds of the weeds, and the farmers, they really struggled in order to keep their fields from weeds. And then the standing water in nalas and khalas and canals and irrigated fields creates perfect breeding ground for mosquitoes and other insects. And then those insects, they destroy the crops. They create disease among the human beings. Children suffer because of malaria and all that. So we came up with another solution. We invented and imported herbicides and pesticides to kill weeds and the insects. And this solution came with yet more problems. We started poisoning our own environment. Those weeds were killed, but our water got polluted. And when you spray poisons to kill weeds, and then you water the field. That spray which is poison seeps into ground with the water, and that is the water the children are drinking in the rural areas, and there are so many health problems. We created barrages to make our canal perennial from inundation. So that was a technological advancement. It solved our problem of diverting water at any time of the year, not just in the flood season. But then, when you create a barrage, it slows down the velocity of water and the river bed starts silting up. You create a cross section with flood protection dikes and a barrage in front, and that cross section can contain a certain amount of water. You all know open channel flow, a trapezoidal section, how much water it can create. But then what happens, that when it is started silting up, that cross section is reduced. So the capacity of the river to carry water reduces. And after a few years, if say 1 million cusics of water could pass through that section, now it cannot. The same amount of water now causes floods. And people living on this side of the dike, they are not used to the floods. And when the dike breaks or overflows, the damages are more. And floods are exacerbated. Because now you are closer to the river, and there are more population closer to the river than it would be if there were no dike. And the protection dikes, they have their own list of problems. So if you see the interventions that we are doing for the last 150 years or so, every solution is coming with at least 2 or more problems. We built large dams. First, we just saw it that they are not doing much good as far as water management is concerned. We create hydropower, and we call this hydropower as clean power. But nobody tells us that a dam produces more greenhouse gases than a coal-fired plant would. Because the lake of the dam is a stagnant pool of water in which there are various stratifications which are unnatural. After a while, that water is depleted of oxygen because oxygen is consumed in a short while by decaying vegetation and organic matter, and then the further decay takes place, and instead of releasing CO2, it starts releasing methane. And that methane is 20 times more potent than CO2. So the carbon footprint of power generation from the dam is actually more than that of a coal-fired power plant. So your dams are not producing clean and green energy. So that is a myth when somebody tells you that hydropower is clean power. Hydropower is not clean power. Storage. When you create a dam and dry up a river, the system has its own natural capacity of absorbing water and then releasing it. So in high flood season, the sides of the river, which are in nature vegetated and wetlands, they absorb a lot of water, flood water, and it seeps into the ground. And when the low flood season starts, or low flow season starts, that water starts seeping back into the river. And that is why your rivers keep flowing. Your rivers keep flowing even in winter when there is no rainfall and there is no snowmelt. Your rivers are still flowing. Where that water is coming from? That water is coming from ground. Basically, it is the base flow of groundwater back into the streets. So you wreck that natural system. And to give you an estimate, all the water that your dams store currently is 23 million acre feet. The absorption capacity of your system, which currently you have almost wrecked, it has the capacity to absorb up to 3,000 acre feet of water. So in order to gain 30 feet, you lost 3,000 feet, a million acre feet. So that's not a very good bargain. But again, nobody tells you that this is the reality of dam storage compared to natural storage of the system. Again, the stagnant water, the lakes of the dams, they are a breeding ground for mosquitoes. Tarbela Lake is very close to this place. Go today and stand beside the lake, especially close to the edge, and you will see swarms of mosquitoes. Again, a public health issue. And then they deprive water. to delta and to the riverine ecosystems, the wetlands, and there are so many consequences of that destruction. Then social cultures, which were developed over many centuries along the rivers, those cultures have gone. The worst hit area is your Indus Delta. Today, if you visit any town which is in Indus Delta, you will hardly find a child wearing shoes. Those people who were once the richest people of this area, their culture evolved along flowing rivers. You go to interior Sindh and they have such a rich culture. Even today, the poorest people who just make their both ends meet by rowing boats and catching a few fish, they are poets, they are writers. And almost 90% of their poetry and writing is about the river and its waters. And not just old poetry, even today they sing about rivers and sing about waters. You go and mix up with these people and you will find it out. Those cultures are being lost. Then your river had a huge navigation potential. You can actually sail a boat from Arabian Sea all the way to Attock, into River Kabul and all the way to Kabul. That's the potential. Boats had been rowing in these waters all these distances. Lahore to Thatta and down to Arabian Sea. Boats had been rowing. And all the big cities, Bahawalpur, Multan, Hyderabad, all these cities are on the river. And they were connected by rowing boats. Read the history and you will find out so many stories and so many actually business modules. So, these systems, the way we have plumbed our river system has completely wrecked that potential. And then we talk about economic benefits. Okay, dams do give some temporary benefits. Now, after you build this Vela dam, you are again retrofitting another tunnel to create more electricity because the earlier ones have lived their life. The problems that dams create are permanent. Dams are being silted up. Tarbela is 40% silted. Now, there is a way to think. I say, okay, I built a dam and it got silted up. Therefore, one way of thinking is, therefore, I should build another dam. And the smarter way is, I built a dam, it got silted up. This time, I should be doing something different. Which is the smarter way? You ask yourself. And then, in a country like Pakistan, with not so strong an economy, we built all these structures with borrowed money. And that was the first time Pakistan took major loans, and from that day to this day, we have not yet been able to pay our loans. If dams were really economically beneficial, we should have and could have paid off our loans. Those loans since that time are increasing with every passing year. And you know it, these days, it's in the news. Sometimes you are going to IMF and sometimes. Now, the government says that we cannot run this country without taking loans. But what loan has to do with this country? We are growing our own food and we are eating our own food and everybody is working. Then why we need loans? We need loans to pay back the previous debt. We take loan from IMF and pay to the World Bank and then from World Bank back to the IMF. This is the perpetual cycle of debt servicing that we are in. And our leaders, they still don't understand it, at least it seems. There are more consequences. This is Indus Delta. This is a satellite image, fully processed by my team, and this is what it is. If you look back at this picture, dark red portion is the land which is now permanently under sea. These were the fields of rice. These were the cities. These were the lands of the people. And the one which is in the light red color, this is seasonally under sea. Month of March, April is the one when you get the highest tides in the ocean. And when there are highest tides, this area is submerged. But once an area gets seawater on top of it, even it recedes, that place is no good. You can't live there, you can't grow anything over there. And you are losing this area, and how much you are losing? Now this graph will tell you. 24 acres per day you are losing. And 67 acres per day is getting under this condition. So imagine how much area you have lost. You are saying that I will bring another 800,000 acres under the cultivation after building one more dam. And because of the dams, you have lost 2.5 million acres already. And losing at this rate, continue. These are some scenes of Indus Delta. When you go on ground, this is what you see. This is a dike that you built again from the loan of World Bank in order to protect the sea from coming in, but it is sea. It's not a small river or a tributary, it is sea. Sea is much bigger and much powerful. This is what happens. And you paid loan. You borrowed money. You borrowed loans to do this. And you are paying those loans and it's not working. That is the kind of boondoggles that you guys are doing. Look at these pictures. These are the scenes of eroding delta. And the seawater is now intruding into the coastal towns. And it's not just the seawater. The picture is very neat and clean. When you stand on this area, when you stand in the city, you can't stand the stench which is coming out of this. Because this water is full of decaying fish and marine life. It comes here, dumps all the dead fish, and then it recedes back, and it is only those people who are living in this town that they don't feel the stench. You go there and you can't stand there. This is low tide on KT Bandar, which is a coastal town, and these remnants that you see here, they are only visible during low tide. On high tide, they are completely submerged. And what is this? This used to be a rice mill. Now, rice mill is not built in the sea. Rice mill is usually constructed in a land which is surrounded by rice fields. This particular location, this side is the sea, and sea used to be 100 kilometers away from this location. Today, this rice mill is drowned. Imagine all those lands and the people and the infrastructure and the cost of yearly production that this land has been lost. So imagine the GDP of your country which is being lost because of losing productivity of a land. Add all those things up and then you will find out what is the true cost of the dams that you built, of the water that you diverted. You say, I am getting the cheapest electricity by water. No, it's not cheapest. Because the price that you are not paying, these people are paying. When you do the full accounting, you will find out that the price of these dams is way, way more than what the accounting books are telling you. And these are the people. I stand there with a zoom camera, nobody knows that he or she is being photographed. And I just try to catch the expressions. I could not see a single smiling face. Not a single smiling face. Everyone is worried. And then these were the people who had the water and you took their water away. But then you gave water to the people who did not have water. So what those people are like? Can you imagine what is this? It looks like a cesspool. This is drinking water. This was a close-up of this pond over here. You see these pipes and the pumps and there's a concrete structure because you took the water through a canal into a desert. And why a desert is a desert? A desert is a desert because there are forces of nature which like to kick out every molecule of water from that area. It doesn't rain here and the groundwater is brackish and that's why this place was desert and nobody lived there. You bring fresh water through a canal in this area. Now the only source of fresh water in this area is the canal water. And the canals, they don't run 12 months a year. Even the perennial canals are closed for at least 2 months in a year. And when that canal is closed, this open pond of fresh water, which is used for drinking and potable purposes by the villagers, starts getting lower and lower. And if the canal doesn't open as scheduled, the life of these people is hell. They have to drink this water. This is their community drinking water. And then the area that you gave to the people, that goes certainly under salinity. These people, they start losing their lands, their values, their productivity. You do hard work planting this crop, and then suddenly a salinity attack happens. You lose the crop, you lose your hard work. And then there are thousands of acres of contiguous areas which was once brought under irrigation through canals are now under salt. Waterlogging. You put too much water in your fields, and that water has to go somewhere. It fills up your aquifers, saline aquifers, it reaches the surface, and the kind of nuisance it causes. These are the towns in which people are living. Now, this is not the coastal town. This is not seawater. This is the groundwater seeping out from the saline aquifer. People are losing their houses, their buildings, their lands. This place used to be a playground. What you can play here anymore. This is the scene of a scarp drain. Again, the stench of these scarp drains and the kind of mosquitoes that breed there. These are the real world situations from which 40% or more population of your country is suffering on every single day. We are living in Cantt or Rawalpindi or Islamabad, and we don't get to see these places. But this is what your country people are putting up every day. Now, $8 versus borrowed dollars. The previous water structures, drinking water structures that I showed you were built as part of the canal irrigation projects. So those structures were built by borrowed dollars. Now here's another structure. It is built by $8. Because when you create a canal command, you do some structural interventions there. But a place that just stops getting their water, it is not part of your projects, and you don't do anything over there. Then the aid agencies come in, NGOs and stuff, and then they want to provide a little bit of clean water or fresh water to these people. So this is close to Indus Delta. Actually, this is in Indus Delta, close to the sea. The difference is that this is not lined or concreted. It is just open ditches. And here, there is no fence around the area. And besides people, dogs also benefit from the same water. So they say sharing is good. We share it with animals. So we are very good. We did a good thing. And this is, I put this picture together. You see a mosque here? This is an institute which says Sfai Nisliman hai. And right in front of it, this is that Nisliman. This is what you drink, let alone what you wear. Back to $8. If you could read this board, it says children playground. And if you could see these signs, this is built by World Bank. They built this playground in a small coastal town, KT Bandar. And here some children are actually playing. This is that board. They are not in the playground but outside, but not without hope. If they hear every day that Naya Pakistan aa gaya, Naya Pakistan aa gaya, they think ab Naya KT Bandar bhi aayega. But this is so unfortunate. Now we signed an Indus Basin Treaty. We took billions of loans and did billions of projects and did massive structural interventions in our system. Why was all that done? Because there was a dispute. So we guessed that after signing the treaty and after doing all those projects, the dispute should be resolved. But the dispute is still there. It is not resolved. It is still there. It's very much there. Even today, every time something goes wrong, we are blaming India and India is blaming us on water issues. And we keep threatening each other for wars. And every now and then we are going to the international mediators, to the World Bank and to the other mediating agencies for resolving our conflicts. And the beauty is that where you took this water to, which is your irrigated areas or canal commands, about 90% of people living in that area are living below the poverty line. So if you do $1 billion project, you would expect that people would get rich in that part of the world. But they are not getting any rich. They are just making their ends meet. And then it has increased the conflict between the upper riparian and lower riparian. You are alienating the downstream communities. Today Sindh is crying that please take care of me. And you say, hey, you are talking against national interests, as if they are not part of the nation. Interest only lies in Rawalpindi and Islamabad. Everyone else has to follow. No, that's not the case. That's the way it should not be. It should be for everyone. And then there are environmental refugees. Those whose lands are degraded, those whose wetlands are lost, those whose land is taken by the sea, they are all environmental refugees. And where they are ending up? They are ending up in the slums of Karachi and Lahore. Uneducated, poor, perfect breeding ground for terrorism, perfect breeding ground for crimes and everything. Poverty is the biggest crime. And we are still wondering how to sustain agricultural production in Indus Basin in the face of increasing population, climate change, and never-ending conflicts. And we still a growing population, and we want to produce more food. If not today, maybe tomorrow. Right now, Pakistan is a food surplus country. But the way population is increasing, food production has to increase.